Here is why cardboard is the absolute best layout tool for making a template. So here we have a Silverado 1500, and the frame is completely rusted out on the back end, but the front half of the truck is fine. So what I did for this top rail and the side rail was I took masking tape, and I would lay down a bunch of long strips from one end to the other, and then I would do little cross sections of tape here and here just to give it a nice crisp line. But for the long runs the whole way down the back of this frame, I would just do a full strip of masking tape, and I layered it up 2 or 3 times, and that was good enough. I saw that on a video of guys doing that for complex curves on sheet metal, like these cab corners that are going to need done. They're a complex curve, and that would work great because you could pull that template off, and it gives you a perfect shape that you can lay flat for doing sheet metal work, and then you do all the shaping and forming on it. But for something like this, where it has a really long run in it, what's better is cardboard. And the reason for this is just a piece of pizza box. That's where I cut it out, and this just happens to be the right length to go in between the 2 frame rails. That's what I'm trying to do, is make a cross member on here, and I blew in some cross member supports there. And the reason why cardboard is the best is because once I cut one straight edge on this, so I'll show you how to get that perfectly straight, but what I did was I lined up from the top rail to the bottom rail, and I put just a slit in it real quick, and then I was able to take it and bend it right where I put the slit in the cardboard. And whenever you bend cardboard, if you have the grain of the cardboard going right, all the corrugations right, I don't know if you can see how it's corrugated like that, but once you get the corrugations going right and you mark it to whatever width you want, you fold it, and whenever you fold it, you get a perfectly crisp line that you are able to cut across. And now this whole cross member that I'm making is going to be perfectly the right width. Cardboard has all these built-in layout lines for you. As long as it doesn't have to be within 1/2 of a millimeter, cardboard's going to work, because each corrugation is about, we'll say 1.5 millimeters wide. And the reason the masking tape didn't work on this is because I didn't know how high I could go with this top rail. I didn't feel like taking these bolts out, so I just went around this, and I welded this in as a little structural piece of metal, because it was the same thick as 1/8 inch thick, which is what material I'm using. So I just welded that in. I butt welded it, but I could only do tape up to here because I couldn't go over these bolts with the tape. And with such a long run, what that did was it allowed the tape to flex like this, and by the time I got down here to these bolt holes, which I had measured out perfectly, they were slightly off, and I had to file them out. And another problem with that tape is if the tape isn't laying perfectly flat, and you stretch it out and lay it perfectly flat on the piece of metal that you're trying to cut out after you laid it out on your old part as a template, what's going to happen is that whole design is going to lengthen, because something that's like this is short, but then you do that and it's long. The amount of material hasn't changed, but because you laid it out more flat, it goes further. And that's the problem with tape, is it's not close enough. It's close, but it's not close enough. Cardboard, it's close enough. It's good enough. Not perfect, but it's good enough. It's a lot better than tape. So if you guys are doing a project like this where it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, it just has to be close enough, and you want to get the layout done as quickly as possible, use cardboard, and it'll help you. Just follow those corrugations, get the grain going right in the cardboard, and you'll be able to cut out those templates a lot faster. The masking tape works great, but I'm going to save that technique for projects where the accuracy doesn't have to be so good. Some smaller pieces, more complex shapes, the tape would work great. But for long, straight runs like a frame rail, you're going to want to use cardboard. Thanks, guys. Here is why cardboard is the absolute best layout tool for making a template. So here we have a Silverado 1500, and the frame is completely rusted out on the back end, but the front half of the truck is fine. So what I did for this top rail and the side rail was I took,